Do you ever feel like you're being tested? And when you are feeling that way, do you ever wonder who it is that's testing you? Um, is it God testing your faith, or is it the other guy testing to see how far he can push you to keep that faith? My name is Terry, and I just recently started a YouTube channel maybe about 3 months ago, and it's mainly faith-based. I normally concentrate on shorts, but but I also do a lot of Bible book readings, usually with the background scenery of my dog playing in the yard. But my very first video was about 6 months ago. We had a major blizzard where I couldn't even get my front door open. I was stuck inside. I mean, literally stuck inside. I couldn't get my front door open. And so I decided to make a short 45-second video and post it to YouTube about what I called snowpocalypse. Just curious to see if anybody would even watch it. Well, people were watching it, and I'm like, hey, this might be a little fun. So now I do it on what I try to make a regular basis, and so far I'm still having fun. That may be subject to change, but so far I'm still having fun. And I am hopefully reaching people. But everything was, kind of going along. I was kind of getting into the flow of things as to, I'm going to work on my shorts one day, and I'm going to work on the longer videos another day. And then of course work in between and take so many hours a week, and everything was going along fairly smoothly. It helps that it's summertime and I live in a little bit cooler environment than most, so I can do a lot of this stuff outside. But I was starting to really get into like the groove where everything was kind of clicking. Well, then over the course of the last 3 weeks, on separate occasions, both of my sons had a vehicle accident. Thank God they're both okay. But when the first one happened, I had to put everything aside. He needed, because he did have an injury, not a major one, but a minor one, and I needed to help him with it. And so things got set aside, and that one was like, okay, well, stuff happens. It's not okay that it happened, but stuff happens. And a couple weeks off is not going to make or break me at this point because it's still so new. And just getting back into the swing of things, getting back to work on a regular basis, because I had to take off time off of work, and he did too. And and finding that time again, to to work on this, and of course having the enthusiasm to work on it, because it is still work. It's not hard work to make videos, but it is still work. And um, and then 2 days ago, my other son has an accident with his vehicle. And I was like, what is going on here? Thankfully, he's okay as well. It was damage to the vehicle, and probably a dead deer. I guess it was a big one, so the deer may have actually walked away, but we don't know for sure. We never will, because where we live, they run off and you never see them again. But um, they, but thankfully he's okay too, and hopefully his vehicle will be as well, because he has a classic. Um, and it broke his heart, but that's another story. But I was already thinking about, who is God testing me to see if my faith is strong enough to continue this faith-based channel? Or is it the other guy who's saying, you know what, you're starting to reach people, and I'm not okay with that, and so we need to slow you down, and we need to put all these obstacles in your way to see if you will quit. And it's been an interesting journey. I've been around for a while. I'm not exactly a spring chicken. I'm just had my 56th birthday earlier this month. And so I'm not young, and I've had a lot of things happen in my life. that have taken me away from my faith. And I've always managed to find my way back. Sometimes quicker than other times, sometimes with the skepticism of having lived a little bit more. But now that I'm getting a little bit older, I haven't found the answer to this question yet. But I'm really beginning to think that it's the other guy. Because God isn't going to give you something that you can't handle. Um, I actually was just reading a passage this morning in Second Samuel chapter 23. The specific verses are 20 to 23, about a man by the name of Benaniah, I believe it is. And apparently this man who became a like chief bodyguard for King David was put into a snowy pit with a lion and won. And God may have put him in that pit to test him, but at the same time, you know, it's a snowy pit and there's a lion in there and you accidentally fall in and you got to slay the lion. Um, not one of those things that you think about having to do every day. And nobody really knew about it except for God. God honored him and made him the chief bodyguard of King David's army, or whatever, however the hierarchy system worked back then. And after reading that story, I pondered on it a little bit before I decided to make this video. I've been thinking about the video, but I pondered on this before I actually sat down to do it. And it made me realize that God never gives you more than you can handle. Who's giving you those challenges is important, but it's not. It's the free will that God gave us, how you handle those situations. Some people, they crawl in a hole and stay there and let the lion devour them. Other ones, they might defeat the lion, but then it's like, woe is me. Why is everybody being so mean to me? Why is God being so mean to me? And wallow in self-pity. And then there's the person who not necessarily triumphs, but at least comes out on the other end, not unscathed, but actually stronger for what they did. Now, this video didn't necessarily go the way I wanted it to. I was going to concentrate on, who is tempting who, but I just want you to think about that a little bit as to the devil's always going to put stuff in our way. How we handle it because of our faith is what's going to make us stronger. And if you pray for God's guidance to help you be stronger, you may be able to slay that, well, not literally slay a lion. I hope nobody ever has to do that. But it'll make you stronger and it'll make you able to handle when it seems like the whole world is just coming down on your shoulders. Again, thankfully my sons are okay, but it has definitely been an interesting test over the course of the last 2.5 weeks. We're still arguing with the one insurance company, and the other one is recent enough that he still has to deal with the insurance company. But fortunately, they're being kind about everything, and it's working out for the most part to everybody's well-being. But I'm gonna leave it at that. I hope everybody has a fantastic day, and remember, with God, all things are possible. I can do all things in Christ who strengthens me. Philippians 4:13. My daughter's favorite verse, and also one of my favorites. Have a beautiful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.